Okay, so welcome everyone from wherever you're logging in from. My name is Sarah Njeri, and I'm a lecturer in humanitarianism and development at SOAS University. And I'm joined today by Roberta, and I'll not try and say their surnames, and my colleagues Natália. We welcoming you from wherever you're logging in from. We have been obviously quite overwhelmed by the response for people to join this network. It is a clear indication that there is a need for such a network. So without much further ado, we will share what we prepared for you. We've been having a three-way brainstorm session, but today we want to engage more broadly and to try and get this network launched. So I will begin by saying who we are. My name is, as I've said, is Sarah Njeri, and just maybe give a little bit of background as to how we've met. I'm peace and conflict scholar. I did my PhD at the University of Bradford at the Peace Studies Department, which is where I initially met Roberta. And along the way, as we've been working together on a journal. And then we were working together on a special issue journal where Roberta and Natália were working on as editors, and they invited me into the editorial process. And now we are doing this together. But I'll let Roberta and then Natália introduce themselves, and then we'll go on with the program, with the agenda. Thank you. Welcome, Roberta and Natália.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. So I'm Roberta Holanda Maschietto. It's a mix. So I'm Brazilian. I'm currently based in Brazil, but as again, I met Sarah back in Bradford during our PhD, and Natália during the other part of my PhD back in Portugal. So currently, I'm a researcher at the Center for Conflict and Peace Studies at the University of São Paulo. And let me just get the opportunity, because I'm seeing already some comments in the Q&A. We really wanted to make this really interactive, but we had like over 200 people applying, trying to join the event. So we thought that it would be a bit complicated for the system to sustain this. So please bear with us. We are recording this, and later on we're going to send notes on the network. So just to clarify this. So yes, Natália, back to you to present yourself.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Roberta. I'm thrilled to be here. So it's, as Sarah mentioned, and Roberta as well, we are really excited. I think, I guess we were not expecting, to have the response that we got. So it's really nice to be here. So I'm Natália Bueno. I'm Brazilian as well. And I guess, I'm also a peace and conflict scholar, but I guess while I was trying to find my way, I went to a bit of comparative politics in Latin America. But today I work on peace and conflict, and I work specifically on Mozambique, transitional justice, reconciliation. And I think Sarah and Roberta said already, more or less, how we met. Important thing, right? So I'm Brazilian, but I'm in Portugal. So let's say I'm not really what I would call the really global north, right? Because I guess we can have this the discussion about also, the diversity, not only in terms of global south, but also in terms of what means the global north, right? So I guess I would say that I'm at the margins of the of the global north. I think, yes, I think that's it. I think something else, I think it's really important to mention. I speak for myself, but I guess we are three mothers, right? So I'm a mother of a 4-year-old. So I barely have what I would say overcome, I guess, the enduring effects of pregnancy and breastfeed and whatever. And I think something that we also have to take into account as early scholars, researchers, right?
Great.
I think now it's maybe I'm passing over to Sarah again, but I guess we forgot to mention, right? I don't know, Sarah, if you want to talk a little bit more about this, that we are doing this voluntarily, right? So yes, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we as we will explain in the next few minutes, we've come together doing this on a voluntary basis. And I think the response to the response we got on LinkedIn when we shared the announcement on the network and the numbers of people that are joining us today is a clear indication of a really clear need for such forum for discussion. So we are, as we said, the three of us we choose to identify as early career researchers. We are within 10 years of our PhD, and we are researching in peace and conflict or peace and conflict and security writ large, and that's how we're coming into this. So how did we get here? And this goes back to, other than the fact that we are scholars in the peace and conflict studies, there's a bit of background, and this is something maybe more personal to me. I was doing my postdoc. I researched landmines, explosive remnants of war, post-conflict environment. And I was doing my postdoc at King's College at the African Leadership Center about 2017. And while I was at the African Leadership Center, there was this report that was done by colleagues at the center, and we can share the details later, that was showing was a study on citations and knowledge production on issues on peace and security on Africa. And this report had a really profound impact on the way I was looking at knowledge production and the reality of what it meant to be producing knowledge from the continent. The report went into the depth of showing who was being cited, how the citations were linked to policy, informing policy. And I think the challenge by then Professor Funmi was to us who are present in the room to do something with that report. And it also happened to coincide with a call by the British Academy on writing, a call on international writing workshops. So I took the challenge, thought about it, and there's something that can be said or can be done about knowledge production on, especially from early career researchers. So I put together a grant application and proposed to do to try and improve the knowledge that was coming from the region, and specifically looked at the Eastern Africa region. And I brought together, I was successful and brought together academics from early career researchers from 5 countries in Nairobi in 2019. And that was also quite impactful also in the way, in kind of giving me a steer in my career. After the 2019 workshop, then I was in and out of academia and then back again. And just as I was getting on with the business, I just joined SOAS, going on with business as usual. I got a request from Roberta and Natália, who are working on a journal, special issue, and they invited me to be an editor. And at the same time, there was another call on again from the British Academy on international writing workshop, and we put together we put together a proposal, and we were able to and the core argument in our proposal was that yes, there was a steady or some impact of the 2019 workshop, but we wanted to see a little bit more growth from that. And this time we wanted it to be extensive. We wanted to include the Global South very ambitiously, and we recruited about 15 early career researchers, and we had our workshop in March this year at Meru University. And it was again a very I guess my my other three co-Is, one is not present today, will agree that it also had a really profound impact on the scholars who attended, but also on us as early career researchers. But there are themes that clearly emerge from there. There was a theme that on a clear need for us as scholars from the Global South to collaborate more. There was a need, the idea of representation, whether it's in knowledge production or in articles and in whatever way there was need for, there was a clear identified need on representation. The other issues also that stuck with the early career researchers present was the asymmetries in terms of setting the agenda for collaboration, where it was institutions from the global north that were setting the agenda, including the agenda for collaborations. Of course, the issue of publications, the language, also key, especially given that to my colleagues, also are Portuguese speakers, the domination of English in the journals that are, or the knowledge that is being produced largely in peace and conflict. And then also, of course, something that doesn't need repeating is the funding asymmetries. In unequal funding that is available for scholars in the Global South, and also the partnerships that emerge from that. And I think these are big themes that have been discussed over a long time. But I thought it was important to mention that this also came through from the scholars who are present, the early career scholars who are present from at both workshops. And so the question is today, what's the aim of the session today? It's to introduce ourselves, because we've introduced ourselves on the social media platforms, on LinkedIn, but to introduce ourselves to everyone, to officially launch this network that has been in our heads, in our minds for a long time, to officially launch it. But also we want to share and discuss our vision, our purpose, and what we want to get as our goals. These are just, we are putting them out as propositions to you, to everybody who will be part of this network. So this is a moment maybe where we can call it a co-creation of this. We can't start from a blank slate, so we have provided some thoughts. We've put our heads together and we've shared some thoughts. And then, of course, we have an opportunity in the end to get feedback from yourselves, whether what we're thinking reflects your expectation, whether there is anything that is missing, and if yes, what could this be missing? So that is our agenda for today. And now, because I've been talking for too much, I'll let my colleagues Roberta and Natália speak on the next for the next few minutes. We aim to leave enough time for conversation. So over to you, Roberta and Natália.
Sarah, just a quick thing, because I've been following here the Q&A, and I'm not really sure. Is there any way we can enable people to see each other's comments? Just a technical note, as you know, I don't know if everyone here is on the group that we created that started this whole thing, but we're like over 900 people right now. So we've been trying to find ways to organize this, and we're still also, as you know, in the beginning of the network, those who were there in the very beginning, we kind of have been learning on the go. So we also kind of changed a bit the settings to try to organize the conversation, because it's really a lot of people. So what we did, and many of you have been so kind, it's really asking for beforehand a little bit of feedback, which we'll include here later on in a few slides. But if there is any way, I don't know, Sarah is the host, I don't know if you can change this configuration so people can see each other's conversations.
I'm trying to I'm trying to seek support to do that as soon as I'll let you
So
know.
in the meantime, we'll continue here
Yeah.
and then we'll try to fix this. So Natália, do you want to go on and speak a little bit about the network?
Sure, I can. Well, at least, like what we have achieved or what we have agreed so far, right? So I think, as Roberta said, we are, as of today, I think 903 people in the Google groups. We also created a LinkedIn group, right? So we are still, let's say, trying to navigate the best way to communicate and share all the information that we have. But as of today, then the Global South, and I think I'll just read, right? So what we have is the Global South Peace and Conflict Studies Network is the idea is to be a collaborative space for scholars, researchers, and institutions based in the Global South to exchange ideas, foster collaboration, and amplify knowledge production from our diverse contexts. Of course, this is not, we are very, let's say, flexible in a way, because myself, as I said, right? So I'm located at the Global North. So even if I'm at the margins of the Global North, as I said, so and I'm part of the network. So of course, it's not only people, we're not being that strict in terms like if you're not based in the Global South. So I would say that more people working on the Global South, right? Everyone is welcome in that sense. And we strive to reshape prevailing paradigms and foregrounding perspectives, theories, and practices rooted in the Global South through, of course, dialogue, joint research, and institutional partnerships. We seek to advance critical and decolonial approaches to peace and conflict. So shake a little bit, right? I would say, Roberta, knowledge production and ways to think about peace and conflict studies, and to make it a little bit more inclusive. So, Sarah, if you could just move to the next slide. So I don't know if you want to continue, Roberta.
Yeah. I think, of course, many of you and many people who are not here today are working on a similar goal. I think one of the key things about this network when we thought about it was really to amplify this exchange so we get to know each other's work a little bit more. For example, I'm Brazilian based here. Of course, I know a little bit more of what's going on in terms of Latin American production, and there's been a lot in terms of trying to decolonize knowledge, bring different voices to the debate. But I know far less, for example, what's been done, like, I don't know, South Asia, and of course, both Natália and I have been working with Mozambique for a few years. So we know a little bit of that as well, but what else has been produced, in Africa? And also, I think there's a language barrier here that it's crucial for us. And we thought that, in a way, even though we recognize the need to bring our voices, we also realize that at the end of the day, we're kind of forced to publish in English all the time. And if we want to kind of really influence the big debate, it's always for us to make an effort to go to the, northern journals, etc., because they have more impact. So in a way, our attempt here is really try to get to know each other a little bit better. And the idea of the bulletins that you have probably seen is also a way to publicize this work and, spread it around so we can read each other's stuff. And as we'll speak a little bit later, also, I think it's time to talk about publicizing things produced in different languages as well. So we came up with a few principles, and of course, you're most than welcome what we're presenting here is open for debate. We want to build something together, but we thought of a few basic principles of the network. One is, of course, to decolonize knowledge, and so bring alternative epistemologies and ontologies. So I think it's the key idea. And horizontality, we really want to, this network to be a space of co-work, co-production, and really exchange of ideas and collaboration and inclusiveness. I think these are kind of the basic principles, right? And as it was pointed out already, is not that we want to, I think even the term Global South can be very complicated in a way, we're so diverse, we're not like a unique group. And it's not that we want to produce division with the global north. Again, it's not a clear-cut division that we have here. And we want this collaboration, but we want this collaboration to be in better terms, let's put it this way. So here is the goals that we are proposing. So first, recognize and amplify knowledge production from the global south. Open pathways for epistemic exchange across linguistic borders. So I think one of the things we're going to be asking also the members of the network is really also to publicize the work that is in a different language. We don't mind. Maybe we don't read it, but I mean, many of us speak different languages, and we think it's also important to start, sharing this in different languages. Promote South-South collaboration, and I think this is one of the things to discuss, and also in the group through emails. Because we're so many and we have so many different interests, how can we manage this? Maybe produce little groups and little hubs. We're going to come to this in a bit, so we can coordinate a little bit better this work within the network. Foster North-South dialogue around an integrated equity and reciprocity. I think one of the things that came up in the workshop that Sarah was talking about is that, of course, we often get, we're linked with the North in many ways. I mean, even the platform that is helping us here today, it was SOAS who's been helping to put us this event together. But we really want to change a little bit the demand and offer side of of this relationship. Quite often we see that the global North, they provide, funding, research, and then we reach out. But we would like maybe to change a little bit the balance, what is that the global South wants to do, wants to research, and then how can the global North also respond to this? And then bridge the gap between academic knowledge and lived experience to support social justice and collective transformation. One of the inspirations for me personally for this network, it's a parallel initiative that we have in Brazil. Back in the late 1915, we started a Brazilian Peace Studies network, which is also basically an e-group. And from that network, we started a Brazilian Peace Studies conference. And today, actually, we're going to have the 8th conference, and which is a really big achievement, since in Brazil, we don't even have like an undergraduate course or a PhD or a master's in peace and conflict studies. So it's been quite an effort. So it's, of course, much smaller than the Global South Peace Studies Network so far. But I think it has been very useful for us to, exchange knowledge. Also, Brazil is a very big country, so you will be surprised that sometimes, we don't even know what people are producing in different regions. So I think this network has been very helpful, and also help us to start collaboration in different fronts. But one of the challenges that we've seen in our network here in Brazil is really to foster this link between people who work with the practice of peace and conflict and activists, etc., and academia. We feel that sometimes these are kind of two worlds that, okay, I'm an academic, I write articles and produce books, etc., but what is the impact of this research? And we would like to bring this discussion also and to the Global South Peace Studies Network, and see how can we harmonize and strengthen this collaboration, so what we study has a better effect in practice, and we can learn from practice, which are the most important fields to study to really make a change. So these are some of the principles and goals that we're proposing, and again, we're more than welcome to add to this, to question this, and yes, I think that's it. Please.
Can I just add a little bit to what you said, Roberta? I guess in terms of maybe underlining maybe 2 points. I think we talked at least between us, like a lot about the language barrier, and mainly, because me and you, it's English. It's not our first language, right? So we were thinking a lot about this, and I guess, we need, right? So we need to, and the reason also why, this event is in English, right? So I think it's very important because English allows us, right, to reach like the biggest, the highest number of people. But I think it's also important to not to fall what I would call as the language trap, let's say, or knowledge trap, right? So not allow, this to prevent us from promoting and aiming for more diversity, right? So of course, our aim is to have, more events and in different languages, and in that way as well, diversify, right? The way we are sharing our knowledge, our thoughts. And the point that I want to make to connect to this is that, of course, I don't think we can romanticize also what we are doing, right? Like we have to face, the realities, the difficulties. And what I mean is that I think what we are, I guess, we are realizing, and what we are trying to do with the network, is to be aware of the change that we are trying to make, right? But I think it's an enduring change, let's say. I think we are need to invest time, right? And we need really collaboration, right? From people from different places and different locations, so we can truly, right, see the changes and see some results, right? So see real impact in terms of knowledge production and new ways of thinking and sharing knowledge. So yes, that's my take. Yeah.
And just to add one key element is that we as scholars in this space, we see a lot of, maybe not so much nowadays, a divide between practitioners and academics. And I think we are hoping that we can be able to also bridge that gap. But also, most importantly, is also to be aware. I think for me personally, is to be aware about what other scholars in the Global South are writing about, and to share that with not just in my writing, but also in my teaching. As an academic who works in an institution like SOAS, where we are very keen in and our ethos are decolonizing knowledge. It's also for me to be able to embed my teaching in the work of scholars who are for a very long time have been the researched communities, and so that we can be able to kind of challenge, the kind of the knowledge that is out there and that has been dominated by scholars from within the global North. And it is a tall order for someone like me who is located in the global North to be saying this, but I think we've got to start somewhere, and this is maybe just one effort of us trying to do that. Yeah. Over to you, Roberta.
Okay, I've seen many responses in the chat. Finally, it's working now. Oh, that's so exciting. We're going to try to synthesize. Well, we're going to have some time later on to also do an interactive thing through Mentimeter. But for those who are asking about the group, I think we will put later on in the chat how if you can join the e-group, but also if you go on LinkedIn in our page, and I think I'll just put it here later on. You can see how to join the group. And the idea is then if you can maybe write whatever you think to us, what you get from this meeting through the email, then we can put it all together when we send notes at the end. So, okay. So yeah, so the other thing about this meeting that we're trying to sort out, okay, so how do we do it? How do we make this work, considering that it's such a big group, how we coordinate this, and especially since it's still like really, as we said in the beginning, it's voluntary work. We're just doing this because we're excited about the whole idea. We're putting this in the middle of all of other projects, and we hope at some point maybe to get more interest, more, collaboration to do something bigger. But I think one of the ideas that we were thinking, and we also got suggestions related to that through the emails, is maybe to try to organize some regional hubs. See, we have people here I'm seeing people from Pakistan, Mozambique, we have people from Brazil, from everywhere. So maybe one way that we could coordinate is like, if a few of you would like to, for example, lead or organize a few like regional groups, like one for Africa, one from Latin America, one from, I don't know, South Asia, we can talk about how this would be. It would be easier for us, for example, to map more, in detail what is being published in each region, so we can set it in the bulletin. For now, the bulletin, as you've seen, is just like the three of us, and we're asking people, please share what you've been publishing, events and opportunities, and then we kind of rush and edit that, you know. But if we have regional hubs, then this could be so much, you know, larger, and we could have more voices, more opportunities, and more things to share. So this is one of the ideas. Another idea someone suggested in the emails would be to work with thematic groups. And of course, we have different interests. We've seen so many interesting works being shared with us. So maybe we really want everyone in the group to feel free to say, for example, I have a topic that I'm interested in, I don't know, humanitarian work, or, you know, peace building, or I don't know, mediation. And if you feel like you would like to have a group to discuss this deeper, you know, just share it, share the idea. We can put it in the bulletin. We can also, I mean, as I said, we did a few changes in the e-group because people were replying a lot and people started to leave the group. So we kind of now have a system where we approve conversation. But I think the main idea is if you have an idea, please share it. We put it in the bulletin, you put your contact, and then people can reach out. And then it's easier for you know, people within the group to organize. We want this to be very decentralized in a way, you know. We're just providing the platform, and then you can see people who are there. We also have that Excel sheet. I'm so happy to see how many people have really put there in the details, so we can really get to know each other in that Excel sheet that we have in the group. And then we can start organizing kind of thematic groups. And then if you have meetings, you can share it in the bulletin. Hey, you know, we're going to have a meeting, please join us. That's the kind of thing that we can easily do. The third point is really back to the idea of no linking practitioner academic exchange. I think it would be so nice to have some brainstormings, you know, if you have people working in a specific field and they can show up and say, yay, you know, that's what we want from you academics. You know, we would like to know more about this or about that, and maybe even provide platform for collaborative, I don't know, action research. But it would be nice to create these spaces for dialogue. Collaborative review circle. I think someone also sent in the emails, mentioned a paper that they were writing. And I think this is such a great thing to do. For example, we could organize meetings. And again, this also can be very decentralized. Say, for example, I'm sure everyone has this eagerness. Sometimes you have a paper you want to discuss, you don't want to publish yet. You know, if we have 3-4 papers and people want to sit together and discuss, or maybe present one paper, just, you know, I think this would be a good place to share this, and people can join and we can discuss. Someone also suggested the idea of a collective repository. We love this idea, but as we said, at the moment, this is a little bit more complicated. Maybe we can discuss this further, and maybe someone, you know, can have more concrete ideas and take the lead on this. The proposition was to have a space where we can put, you know, our work and share and have the documents there. It has some practical aspects that are a little bit complicated at this stage. It needs space. We have to see also another big issue that I think stands in the way of North and South. Yeah, as you know, many journals, articles, they have all this kind of rights, and they're not necessarily open access. In Brazil specifically, there is a very strong incentive for things to be open access, but that's not the case necessarily for main journals. So we have to navigate through these things to think about how this repository could be. So the idea is out there, and I invite you to reflect on this with us. The other thing is that we're really trying to think of a possible website that could have also spaces like, for example, a blog where members of the network could maybe share some reflections, you know, on a regular basis. So we're working on that. We think it's really important, even though we're very informal at the moment. We're not like an institution, but I think it's nice to have a space, and we've been working on that. I don't know if Natália and Sarah want to add something on this. Again, these are just some ideas, and we're just sharing this with you, but we want feedback, you know, and feel free to add, to comment. So Natália and Sarah, do you want to say more on this?
No, I think maybe just you talked already about, but, you know, like, I think the third point, right, in terms of practitioners and academics, I think, you know, we are always trying to bridge also, right, the gap between theory and empirics. So we would like, like to see some initiatives in that sense as well, like try maybe to promote some workshops, some meetings where we could, for example, like have a expert academic, from more, let's say from a traditional academic and a practitioner, so we could discuss and try to to more and more bridge, I guess, the both sides towards, I don't know, fruitful discussions and maybe ways forward in terms of research and also in terms of impact on the ground. And I think, like again, I think that's why, right? I think we really need to put some effort on this, right? There are many things that I think we need to do. And but we also need some time, right? Because we're going to need some time in terms of funding, how to shape everything that we want to do. So I think, like initiatives and ways forward as well, like we welcome those, right? So we can see ways to put all this in practice as well. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think there's nothing much more to add on that. I think we are very keen, of course, to hear what people would like out of the network, what the expectation, because as Roberta and Natália have indicated, we really received an overwhelming response about when we initially suggested the network. So it clearly, for me, it indicates the need for that, for this kind of networking, for this kind of collaborations. But it would be interesting now to get a sense from people who are present today, and also those who've indicated that they are interested in the network, to hear what it is that what a value add as a network such as this can bring into the field of peace and conflict studies. So, and I guess now is we can move on to the next item, where we want to share a Mentimeter. And it's given what we have said, given where we've shared where we've come from, what's the motivation for us. What do you think is missing from the conversation we've already presented? And maybe give us an indication on what we ought to be thinking about, what activities as well that we could be thinking about. And then we have next steps, which will be taking what the feedback we get from this session, but also we will follow up an email to the network to those who are present, or those who have not been able to be present with us. We would like to follow up with an email, with a Google document link, to kind of give us more ideas. And then we're going to synthesize that and then present it maybe in another forum and communicate the outcomes of that for now. So go on, Roberta.
No, I'm just sorry. I'm trying to also look at the chat and trying to put some things together. Just maybe a quick note. I see people that already volunteered to take part of the hubs. What I'll do is at the end I hope everyone here is in the group. I see some people try to join, but it's already full. We did have a couple of requests, I think, on LinkedIn, but when the individual is already part of, I think, 3 groups, they cannot join further groups. This is an issue. And I think we have at least 3 requests that we try to approve, but it says to us
a lot more than that, Roberta. And I think this is an issue. Yes.
So it says a lot of people already have, they have reached the limit of the groups they can belong. So it's really not up to us. Unfortunately, it's a LinkedIn setting. But everything that we put on LinkedIn, I mean, the bulletin and the platform for dialogue, it's actually, at least the group doesn't have a limit, at least so far it's going, I mean, we still have plenty of space. So if you have trouble with the LinkedIn, please reach out to us in the email, and we'll try to keep you informed of everything as much as possible. And what we'll do is that if you are one of those volunteers, please, when we send back the notes, get back to us through the email, because then through the email we can really organize, put everything together, and we don't miss anything. And then we can get back to you with something more coordinated. And I think that's it. I'll look at the other
Or maybe,
questions.
sorry, Roberta, maybe we can add this to the Google form, Sarah, that we are going to send afterwards. Maybe we can add an option there, like if you want to volunteer, which role you would, so we can organize all this, right? So we can collect all the information, right? What do you think? I think it would be like, it would be a good idea, so we can have everything in the same space, you know, so we can collect and organize and get back to you with all this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not so sure whether we can have whether people can speak. I don't think that's possible. But I think maybe now I can share the Mentimeter link, and I hope it works. And you could feedback to us. Let me see. I'll share it there.
Yeah, maybe what we can do while everyone also goes to the Mentimeter, because the chat is really full of things, but maybe if you have specific questions, maybe we can go back to the Q&A so we can separate like introductions and comments from questions. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to follow up here, but please. Yeah, but I think the Mentimeter will help a lot. So yes, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I don't know if people are able to log on to the Mentimeter.
Don't you have the QR
code? Yeah,
yeah, because you have to share that so people can reply.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you sent here on the
chat, and
yeah. Oh, you sent the link. Okay. So yes, if everyone can go to the link and reply, that would be really nice. Okay.
I don't know. Copy. The link works. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, maybe if there are any questions, any immediate feedback that we can respond to while we look at.
Yeah, I mean, you will share the
Oh yeah, I can share now. I can share my link. Yeah.
Yeah.
Share the answers in a bit here about. Yes.
Yeah.
I posted the group link and the link here in the chat. And just to clarify, if you're not a member of the group yet, once you link, we want to click in the link of the group. You just ask, and then we'll just approve immediately afterwards. There's really no criteria. As long as you want to be part of the network, we approve, and you're going to be in. Oh, we also have an email that we have from the.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay.
I'll
yeah.
Yeah, the email with Global South. Sorry, Roberta, if you let me remember.
Yeah, I think so we can just copy
share
here in the chat. Yeah, okay. So people can know the email, the general email that we're using for the network.
Yes.
So yeah, great ideas that are coming through. Workshops for members. It would be useful to almost to kind of also be specific, you know, like workshops on what. Yeah, we've thought about conferences, and we were thinking as well about linking with networks that are already existing, that are specific for the global north, global south. So if you have any that you're aware of, could you, if you pop that also on the chat or on the link, we could try and also do that. I guess there is always value in having, you know, sharing and kind of not, rather than replicating. Yeah, there's quite a lot of interesting network about peace education.
Of course, it is still early to say, right, Sarah? But we are hoping for maybe next year, at least, to have a virtual conference of a Global South Peace and Conflict conference. Wait for more news, maybe.
Yeah.
More news to be shared soon, or hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also checking here all the comments. Thank you guys so much for interacting here with us. This really means a lot. And I think the idea of the regional hubs is going to be really great. And also,
I'm always, like Roberta and Sarah, they know me already. So I'm always really going to practicality. So I'm also, if you guys have, ideas about funding as well, like, because we need, like not only again, people to work. So that's why we are inviting you as well to work, so we can collaborate, so we can do stuff. But also we need, right? I think it's only fair to say that we will need, right, to put all this, I don't know, to bring all this to life. We also will need some resources. So if you always have, ideas and resources, do share, right, about this.
Yeah, I'm seeing here, it's a little bit small, but okay, let me see here the memo.
Yeah, I don't know. Oops.
Newsletter. Oh, okay, yes, thanks, Sarah.
That's
much better. I was trying to read. So I think here are some themes, right? If you go up, some people say like put together panels for events. This is great. We've been doing this in the Brazilian network, and I think it's a great way to get to know each other. Let me make the publicity again. I think I sent it in the last bulletin. We're going to have a Brazilian Peace Studies conference this year. And for the first time, we're going to be supported by the International Studies Association Peace Studies section, and they have 4, it's not much, but they have 4 travel grants for Global South scholars. So check that in the bulletin if you're interested to participate. But we would love to know more about other conferences in other places. I think this is one of the points as well. So I really urge want to just send us the email, like everything, and then we can see these opportunities where we can go and find ways to talk and exchange things in person. Another thing that came up lately, I think it's in the bulletin, there is a writing workshop, just like the one that we're organizing in Kenya this year. There's going to be one in Rio. It's open also for application. And so things like that, I think they provide a platform for us to connect, not only virtually, but also in person.
There is a question from Oluchi on how they access the bulletin. We, as if you're a member of the LinkedIn network, we share that there, but also on email. We try to make it by monthly, but sometimes
bi-weekly.
Oh yeah, bi-weekly.
But maybe we'll since it's a voluntary, maybe. I mean, we can get someone helping us, but yeah, it's been 3 issues so far. But depending on how much we get in terms of information, we can maybe do it the monthly and Logger 1. But yeah, it's available on LinkedIn, and some people have been just forwarding it on WhatsApp. I think someone mentioned at some point a WhatsApp group. But my only concern, maybe, I don't know, like we can discuss that, is just because we're so many, I'm not sure how it would work. I think maybe for the regional hubs, maybe it would be easier. I don't know. To be honest, I never had such a big group like on WhatsApp, wouldn't know how it works. That's why we decided at the first instance for the email, because of the e-group. But that's an option as well.
I wanted to add something, Roberta and Sarah. I think something that we didn't mention so far. I think it's about mentorship. I think it's something really important. So I would say, like senior researchers, practitioners are here with us, hear about our initiative, please come forward. I think it would be very nice, to have people, that are available, that can do that, because I think it's another thing that we could do, open maybe mentorships in terms of thematic groups, right? I don't know. we can think about different ways to do that, you know, but I think mentorship, it's really something that can be really, really helpful and can open many doors. And it's both ways, right? Because it can open different opportunities of collaboration. So I think it's important to add that as well.
And I think that is one of the things that have been proposed on the Mentimeter. There is a mention of additional activities, also coaching
sorry, I didn't see. Okay.
For early career researchers. So that's clearly that's a need, and I guess also it speaks to how the network came about the need for publishing for early career researchers. So definitely that's something that is worth thinking about. There's also an interesting suggestion by, I will not try and read the name, about developing monthly or quarterly thematic seminars to discuss in theory and practice about decoloniality, indigenous knowledge, gender, and conflict. And I guess if we think about the the themes that we want to emerge from the network, one way we could be also having thematic leads who could then take up an issue and be the ones who compile some of these workshops or some of these thematic seminars. That would be one way that we could help also in sharing and yeah, in doing in that space.
Yeah, I think we have many ideas.
Yeah.
So I just want to stress again that about the ideas, I think one of the key things to take out of this meeting, I think, is really, I will want people to feel really empowered to just take the lead, you know? So if you feel, okay, I would really love to have, I don't know, I'll speak about myself. I love the idea of maybe starting a book club discussion on peace-related stuff. You know, let's say I have a specific interest. I can propose this in the group and say, you know, who would like to join me? And then let's have like a monthly meeting to discuss this and that. So if you have any topic of interest, you know, I would like to discuss sustainable, I don't know, an environmental issues and peace building, just feel free to reach out in the email. We'll put it in the bulletin. You know, you don't need to wait for us. We'll just be there kind of coordinating this. And then I think anyone should feel free to join. And then the person who leads the team, or they can just, you know, take action and will be part there in the network. So I think that's the key thing, you know, decentralize a bit, but also kind of the only center would be like the coordination, you know, so we can keep the information flowing. I think that's the idea, you know.
And I think from the two workshops, one of the things that have emerged and that is clear is the need for peer-to-peer support. And if, for example, it would be, hopefully this network would also be a space where if somebody is writing a paper, that they are able to reach out to the network and say, I want to present this, and I want to get you know, critical friends who can be able to engage in that dialogue or conversation, and you know, we can send out the link and we can say so and so is going to be presenting. They are looking for feedback. It could be also a proposal that somebody is working on, is wanting to develop and improve. And this also speaks back to the early career peer support, but also kind of helping in terms of, we know the process of writing and of submitting papers and the rigorous process that is involved. So that this would also be a forum where people can be able to reach out to members of the forum and say, could you be a critical friend in reviewing this? So there's quite a lot of ideas out there that we already have. Somebody is suggesting a directory of peace scholars in Global South to get information on people working in the field. I think that's the start of the Google document that we have that we might share. And I think maybe also we can reach out to members of the network to say, if you have a certain skill set, you know, for example, in software that we know we can be able to use to keep say this network, making sure that at the moment we are working on Google Documents, which is not a very, not the best platforms, but somewhere where we can enter that search details and have a directory so that, you know, people can know where to reach out, where you can search for somebody's name, the country, and the kind of the keywords on their research, and you find them. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, because so far we have been working with the Excel, right? But hopefully, as when we have a website, right? Like our aim is, you know, with the website would be to have this, right? To collect all this information.
Yes. But I think what Sarah said is crucial. I mean, we're really, if you can support us in any way, like with practical things, this is most than welcome, because again, we started the Google Doc, you know, the Excel, just so we can, you know, kickstart the process. And it's not the best way if we have a system, as Sarah said, that you can say, okay, who's working with, I don't know, you know, this country or this specific theme, or and then you can do a search like of a database. That would be ideal. But it's at this moment, the three of us, we don't have necessarily the skills to do that. It's a process. So if you do, please reach out, you know.
Come forward.
Every little thing we do, you know, it may not look like that, but little thing takes time, you know, from like, for example, designing a logo for the network, you know, and based on free apps and stuff like that. Every little thing takes time. So you're more than welcome to just express, you know, you're really, really welcome. You cannot see the Excel in details. Okay, we'll share that again, because I think it's actually the Excel is like open. It's a link. Anyone who has a link should be able to see that. But again, because it's a collaborative thing, maybe sometimes, you know, I don't know, it can get a little bit messed up. Because if some, I don't know, clicks a different button, it's kind of a live document, but I will check this later on. And
so if anyone has an idea, right, a free, I don't know, a free resource or I don't know, an alternative way, right? Because I think it might have gotten a little bit messy by now, you know, compared to when we opened the document. So if anyone has any idea or alternative or how we could improve, right? So please let us know.
There is also a very good suggestion about the need for local mobilization subgroups and funding strictly meant for Global South knowledge production, and also a creation of a volunteer subgroup. So I think, yeah, all these ideas are good. I think what we are going to do is we are going to take up and then take this up and synthesize, see what is whatever, and then present it back to the network. And then we'll probably have another forum where we can share. Probably now that we've had a webinar, we might look at a different format where it is more interactive. And you can be able, maybe we could be able to have even breakout groups and conversations to see how we can take this network forward. So happy women are leading this process. Kudos. Thank you.
Yes, I'm thinking, you know, just out of our rudimentary and very non-high-tech skill, but we can actually open a new document, an Excel with different kind of sheets, like, you know, seminars, you know, things to do, tasks, and people could voluntarily put their name, you know, this document would be open. So we know also what's going on. And if you want, okay, I want to present a paper, and then we can, you know, always put this document in the bulletin, but it would be a way for us to interact the same way people are putting their names in that list with the, you know, what they do, where they're from. We could have a list of areas of activities just to kickstart, again, very low tech, just to have something going, you know, and make it more interactive on the go.
But as our next step, I would say, let's go with the Google form, right? Let's try to collect all the information with the Google form. I know you want to share, you want to say something more about that, Sarah. because you are going to, sorry, I think I cut you.
But no, I think that is on our next steps. On what we are going to do next is we're going to you or everybody who's registered for the workshop, and also people who are in the network who are not able to join us today. We are going to send a follow-up email with a Google form with a deadline for feedback, for people to send us some really concrete also examples of how we can take the network forward. And then, of course, between us, we are going to synthesize and present that back to the network, put a proposal together on what kind of the collective agreement is on the way forward with the network. I mean, the idea is a very rudimentary co-creation process on what we as Global South or people with links with the Global South scholars and working on peace and conflict issues writ large can do, can engage in these issues. So yeah, I think that is on the next steps, which will follow up.
Yes, I think unless someone has something else they would like to share, I think I'm really pleased, and I just want to thank you all so much for being here today. I know many people wanted to be here as well, but Global South has so many different time zones, and it takes an effort. That's why it's important to have the regional hub, so you can also have meetings. That it's easier to organize things. But I'm just so happy, and thank you so much, everyone, for the kind words and for the proposals. I'm really looking forward for us to keep this movement going. And yeah, I think that's just what I want to say.
Yeah, me too. Just very pleased again for being here, for you guys for showing up, and for coming forward with ideas and questions and everything else, and looking forward to more things to do together.
Yeah, and for me as well, thank you very much. And I would like to especially thank my colleagues from SOAS for facilitating, helping us set up this webinar, for sharing, sending out the emails. We really appreciate. I mean, it's their input meant quite a lot from us, because we were able to then have a concrete date and move forward because of our very, very busy schedules. I've been very, very humbled to see a lot of names that I recognize from different fields and different avenues. So thank you very much for turning up. Thank you for showing up. We hope that this is going to translate into something worth our while and worth our effort. And we are looking forward to what the future of the Global South Peace and Conflict Studies Network is going to be for us. Thank you very much, and goodbye.